Good morning and welcome to the regular meeting of City Council for Tuesday, October 24th, 2023. Will the clerk please take the roll?
Reverend Burgess, Mr. Coghill, Ms. Gross, Mr. Kraus,
He's here.
Apologies. Here.
Mr. Lavelle,
Here.
Mrs. Strasburger,
Here.
Mrs. Warwick,
Here.
Mr. Wilson, Mrs. Killsmith, President.
Here.
5 members present.
Thank you. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Our next order of business is to amend the agenda. Is there a motion to amend the agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
The agenda is amended. Thank you, Councilman. The agenda is amended. Our next order of business is proclamations, and I have some to be presented. Can I have pediatric view? Come forward. Who's here for I think it's called something else. Children's home. Looking for? Yes. Come this way over here. Well, you can actually come up here with me. I just had knee surgery. I'm not coming down. Yes. Are you okay? Come up. I'm sorry, after I said that, I should have asked. So whereas the Children's Home of Pittsburgh Pediatric View is hosting the first annual conference on innovations in cortical visual impairment, CVI, November 1st and November 2nd at Sheridan Station Square in District 2. Whereas cortical visual impairment is the leading cause of visual impairment in children in which the eyes can see but the brain cannot process what is being seen. The condition is often misdiagnosed as autism or attention deficit disorder, and children who have CVI often struggle in other areas of development. And whereas the Pediatric View patient practice is devoted to CVI advocacy by promoting awareness, identifying those who are at risk, and collaborating with professionals to improve outcomes in development and learning. And whereas Dr. Christine Roman Lanzi is a former teacher of the visually impaired and former research assistant in the Vision Studies program at the University of Pittsburgh. She has lectured extensively using CVI materials she has developed and is the author of Cortical Visual Impairment, an Approach to Assessment and Intervention, and Cortical Visual Impairment, Advanced Principles, and now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby commend the Pediatric View Program of the Children's Home of Pittsburgh and Lemieux Family Center for its extensive work in CVI, and be it further resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby declare Tuesday, October 24th, 2023 to be Pediatric View Day in the City of Pittsburgh. Can I have a motion to approve in a second?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Proclamation's approved. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Miller. You want to shake some hands? I'm gonna look at the photo. Get involved.
Okay, thank you. This is quite an honor, and I thank the City Council for this proclamation. It means so much to us. Children with CVI are all around us, but hardly ever noticed, especially in terms of their visual impairment, because their eyes are normal, but their brain has been injured and the visual parts of their brain can't see. It's highly specialized work and something that I have been proud to be involved with my colleagues. So happy to be at the Children's Home where they support this process and really have a mission to bring it forward so that the community at large is more aware and children receive the support they need. This is a kind of visual impairment in which vision can actually improve. So there's a lot to be gained by finding these children early and providing the correct support. We would love to have any of your support, your interest. We have a conference coming up November 1st and 2nd And we have quite a wonderful slate of national speakers that will come and talk to us and teach us even more about CVI. So please join us, and know that we welcome you to come see the program and to be part of our mission. Such an honor. Thank you so much.
Do you want to introduce who you have with you?
Of course. I'm so sorry. This is Jonathan Graves. Jonathan Graves works at Pediatric View as one of our practitioners, and Stacy Schessler is our COO. So I'm very honored Stacy and Pam Keene, our CEO, have provided incredible leadership to open the door to Pediatric View to the much greater community. Thank you to them as well.
We're going to take a photo. Is this in your district? Ellen, you home? Whose district's that?
I think 9, pretty sure. 9.
We're going to take a photo. Do you want
All
to-
right.
We're going to stand over here because the photographer's here, right here. Okay, so I have everybody confused. When they do proclamations, they usually do them there.
All right.
So
So
we're going to do them over here.
shall I hold this?
Yeah.
Make
Step
thank-
over
do
this
you
way.
want-
Want to step over this way?
Wait, come down this way.
No, you please. Thank you. Thank you. And just hold the proper camera. Thank you for your work. And I will, I'll say this on the microphone. You get to keep it, yeah. And it will play on TV tonight. It's playing live now, TV tonight, and we'll replay over the weekend a couple times. And we. And I will say that our community engagement office, I believe, is going to take part of the conference. So I want to thank them. Yeah. All right, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your work, your important work. We have a lot of important work today. We have the Onella Recovery Center Day next. Onella Recovery. Come forward for that. Bring everybody who's here with you. You can come up here with me. Okay. Can I mention that you work for Bob? Okay. I don't know if you know Dennis Regan, who worked for Bob O'Connor, now is the executive director of the Onella Club. So, doing great work. Thank you. Continuing to do great work. Thank you.
We've got a crew here.
You have a crew. Come on up. Or you can stay with her if you want, whatever you want. We're going to do the photo there. And I want to say Councilman Kraus has always been a huge supporter of the Onella Club. But I don't know if you recall, but the Onella Club was initially started by, I think it was 3 police officers, one was a motorcycle officer, was Bessie Miller's dad.
Yeah.
Jack Daniels was his name, and he started the Onella Club. So I just want to make sure I mention him because his family does a lot in Elliott, in the community. Whereas Onella Recovery Center is celebrating 70 years of helping individuals and families impacted by substance use conditions, including the current opioid epidemic. And whereas founded in 1952 and incorporated in 1953 as a private social club for recovering alcoholics, Onella Recovery Center is now a full-service nonprofit providing a safe community space where individuals with all types of substance use disorders and their loved ones can find resources, support, and fellowship. And whereas Onella serves thousands of visitors a month in various stages of recovery, offering a safe, inclusive environment centered around peer-to-peer recovery. And whereas Onella Center strives to enhance the spiritual, social, and economic welfare of our recovering community, educate on the disease of addiction, and provide life-saving programs, activities, and trainings for all those who seek help. And whereas, in addition, they provide a central meetings place for support of out-of-town recovery substance abusers, in a safe drug and alcohol-free environment. Onella Recovery Center also works with the Greater Pittsburgh Community Food Bank to distribute free food to those suffering from food insecurity. And now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby recognize and commend Onella Recovery Center for providing the community with a safe environment for all recovering individuals. And be it further resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby declare Tuesday, October 24th, 2023 to be Onella Recovery Center Day in the City of Pittsburgh. Can I have a motion to approve in a second?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Proclamation's approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Here's the mic.
Okay.
I'm a little short.
So am I. I just want to thank Council President Smith for this wonderful recognition of the Onella Recovery Center and what work we actually do to help those that are suffering, sick and suffering. And these people that are here with me today are those that have either worked for Onella at one point in their career and moved on to something else, and now they work for the Onella. We also have Stacy. She is one of our partners with the county of drug and alcohol services through Department of Health and Human Services in the county. Thank God for them. They help fund us, which keeps us open. And I just appreciate everybody here. And I can really run down real quick all the folks that are here. Chrissy, she's one of our peer-to-peer specialists. Phil Diamond, another peer-to-peer specialist. This is Dan Westland. He is now our present board president. Chris is another CRS, certified recovery specialist. Randy was our past board president, and he's holding a plaque from Joe Panzino, who was our executive director for close to 20 years. 25 years. And he was the guy that kept it together through some very difficult and hard times. Terry is one of our longest employees. He's our cook. We have a little restaurant in our facility, and we serve food. Chuck was also a past employee, was a CRS, Certified Recovery Specialist. And Stacy, she was also a CRS, and now she's helping us with the county. And I got another guy back here, Tom. Tom is, he's taking a back seat, but he's a very important part of our organization. So I want to thank City Council for giving us a little bit of a recognition today. We could use your help in the future. Please don't forget about us when it comes time to any kind of funding that may be available. I'm going to put that in there right now because we can always use the funding to keep us going. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, and I'd just say, I think everyone I know that has a family member that's been touched with some type of addiction, struggles and challenges. And we actually, in the city of Pittsburgh, hired Ricky Moody, who, that's his background. Ricky, come up here for a second, please. So I would like to see you guys work together a little bit because he actually does a lot with drug and alcohol counseling.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Come up here and tell them what you can do and how you can work.
Thank you, Council President, for putting me on the spot. I wasn't prepared, but I do want to say that I know Onella does a lot of important work. Stacy, we partner a lot of times in a lot of different coalitions, a lot of different initiatives. And as a certified alcohol and drug counselor, I do recognize that recovery is important past the month of September. And people like this make it worthwhile, and they continue to need support from council and county. So thank you.
Thank you. Do all the members want to come up and take a photo, please? I want to know if Councilman Kraus wants to say anything, because he really usually does a lot to recognize Onella Club. Councilman Kraus, do you have a second? We'll wait and see if he comes back on. Okay. Do you want to come up and take a photo?
Sorry, madam.
Oh, there.
Can't seem to find the mute button this
That's
morning.
okay.
No, I just want to thank you for bringing this forward and for everyone that's come in to speak to the importance of recovery as it was spoken past the month of September. So just appreciate what you're doing this and happy to be a part of it, Madam President. President.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you.
Please come mention a couple names, please. Anybody else want to speak? Oh, sorry. Do you want to say something?
Dan, you want to say anything?
You can both say something.
Okay.
Go, you first.
Dan?
You're taller, so you better put the mic over.
Okay. I'll be quick.
No, you take your time.
Thank you.
This is your time.
Good people of the chamber who have joined us today, distinguished members of the Pittsburgh City Council, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. My name is Dan Westland. I am currently the board president of the Onala Recovery Center. I am honored and humbled to be standing here in front of you all today to receive this proclamation of recognition of Onala Recovery Center and the service it has provided for the last 70-plus years to the city of Pittsburgh and our surrounding community. Our mission at Onala is simple: to provide a community with a facility that offers an environment of recovery from alcohol, drug, and other addictions through education, social interaction, and fellowship. Our services at Onala have been achieved by the tireless commitment of our staff, which most, like myself, became acquainted with the Onala Recovery Center in the very early stages of recovery. These are the very folks that you see here in front of you, the individuals that took time out of their days, once again, to come here and celebrate with us Onala Recovery Day. For without them and the support of our recovery community, none of this would be possible. We at Onala Recovery Center look forward to building our program objectives and adding to our services in the future. And why do we do this? We do it because we recover. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. And I'm Randy Jackson, a past board member and past president on the board of directors. I'm holding a plaque of Joe Panzino, who was a president, past president, and executive director of Onala for about 25 years. And all I can say is without him being there, Onala would not be where it's at today. And one thing I would describe him as, his spirit was infused into Onala, and it was hard to separate the two. And we're forever grateful for the city of Pittsburgh that's worked diligently with him to provide funding for us. Just a few other names I'm going to mention that had really given Onala its place in Pittsburgh would be Bill Dixon, Phil Joyce, Marty Lydon, and I don't want to forget Danny Daniels, who was worked closely with Joe for about 12 years. So thank you.
Madam President, may I have one more thing?
Yes, please, Councilman.
Thank you. Hearing people speak brings back memories of my first year anniversary. I spent at a Sunday morning 6:30 meeting at the Onala Club, and we all have those moments in our lives where we remember a day or a time of day or a place in time that was transformational and took our lives in a completely different trajectory than we might have imagined. And that first year anniversary in the meeting that I attended at the Onala Club was one of those moments for me that truly changed the trajectory of my recovery in ways I never could have expected. And I'm standing here clean and sober 34 years later, remembering how instrumental the meeting of my first anniversary at the Onala Club was, and how important it was in my road to recovery. So thanks for doing this morning, Madam President. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, and thank you for sharing your stories, so many times with people, so just so everyone knows there is help, there is hope.
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. Thank you, everyone that's here.
What's happening? How are you, buddy? Good. Good to see you. How you been? I just need one.
Madam Clerk, we have one to be read into the record by Councilman Burgess. Can I have a motion to approve in a second?
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Proclamation's approved. Thank you. And our next order of business is public comment, and our first registered speaker is Naomi Mullen. Naomi? Naomi Mullen, is she on? Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, I know that opioids are respiratory depressants. I found that out. Happy birthday, Michael. I honor my husband, who is a true City of Pittsburgh public servant from the 1970s till 2021. Baby trees, not jade fields in Bon Air. This is for you, Michael. We, the people of Bon Air, are the real stakeholders. We have paid our mortgages, taxes, and voted. We have shown up at the town hall meeting to give a resounding no to developing the building. We have signed a petition to say we want a green space, not a building. We have property value and quality of life to protect. According to the Pennsylvania Constitution, the purpose of government is for the peace, safety, and happiness of the people they serve. The Bon Air Memorial Green Space is the solution for the peace, safety, and happiness of the Bon Air community. Without that, there is no valid governance. Former Mayor Peduto was selected to be a member of a global group of mayors. It is clear that he disgraced himself with initiatives and actions that call into question his loyalty to our city, state, and country. How dare he appoint a board that said that the school should remain in place? They did not care about the property value and quality of life issues that harm Bon Air. This was read at my husband's funeral. Retired Deputy Chief Mike Mullen touched the lives of many people. His uncompromising dedication to his sworn duty to provide for the safety of the citizens of Pittsburgh was truly exceptional and one that should be emulated by other firefighters. He loved sharing his knowledge of firefighting and all its many aspects to make our firefighters safer, smarter, and more efficient on the fire ground. Mike knew most of the firefighters on the entire Pittsburgh Bureau of Fire. He worked tirelessly but also energetically his entire career in pursuit of more knowledge. His legacy will serve our citizens and firefighters for years to come. Mike was a loving and compassionate husband, father, brother, relative, and friend. He lived a full life as his obituary so accurately described. Mike was passionate, tireless, dedicated, highly conscientious, and caring. Well done, Michael. Well done. Rest in peace, my friend. A first responder memorial green space is the solution for the peace, safety, and happiness of the Bon Air community. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next registered speaker is Dr. Ronald Lynn Miller. Dr. Miller?
Dr. Ronald Lynn Miller, Belsuver, Cambridge, England. I'm a Global Intelligence Society U.S. candidate for President 2024. GlobalIntelligenceSociety.org. In the early 2000s, I became a member of the Linguistic Society of America, African Studies Association, the Association for Asian Studies, American Studies Association, and the Council for European Studies. Concerns of Pittsburgh City Council include ethno-racial, linguistic, diversity, and mobility. But what about civility? Diversity for my publications in sex gender identity formation. That is one book. The other major book that's coming out, global intelligence, a fusion of the 21 primary disciplinary intelligences, and I need typists and translators in Hausa, Nihongo, Espanol, Deutsch, and Navajo. Navajo is one of the top 5 most complex human languages, with Zhongwen and Nihongo. The Navajo tribal nation, Window Rock, is not governed by the U.S. Supreme Court or the U.S. Congress. Navajo land is 27,000 square miles. The Pittsburgh land area is 58. That is 465 times greater than Pittsburgh. The number of people is roughly the same, 300,000. But imagine, counselors, that you would have to deal with 3,000 square miles of territory. Imagine the mobility problems. Ms. Gross favors the idea of enhanced mobility, that legislation, in part to counter parking problems, 18 October 2023. And as I left the council room on that date, I said publicly to her that this is a good piece of legislation, to which she offered me a made-up, flint-faced mask of incivility. That is inexcusable. Ms. Gross, at the 11 October 2023 pre-agenda to interview Mr. Luther for the Parking Authority, where were you? If you're so concerned about parking and mobility issues, then it seems to me that you should have been present. The people who are here, Mr. Lavelle and Mr. Wilson, thank you for being here, but there were 7 members who were not.
Our next registered speaker is Emma Bear. Is she online? No. In the audience, Emma. Moving on to our next, Kara Kimakata. Is she online? Okay.
Hi, yes, can you hear me?
Yes, good morning.
Morning. My name is Kara Kimakata, and I'm the Community Outreach Coordinator at Lawrenceville Corporation and a Lawrenceville resident. I would like to speak today about the Mobility Enhancement District. Thank you, Councilwoman Gross, for introducing this legislation and for creatively thinking about infrastructure and mobility solutions in Lawrenceville. As someone who both lives and works in Lawrenceville, I support this legislation. Lawrenceville Corporation and Lawrenceville United held a multi-tiered engagement process surrounding this legislation that engaged hundreds of people. We've heard from many that infrastructure, mobility, how people move throughout the district, and safety are key concerns of many Lawrenceville residents, businesses, and visitors alike. And as a resident of this neighborhood, both safety and a vibrant community are important to me. With a bustling business district, as well as a neighborhood filled with children, senior citizens, those with disabilities, and anyone who wants to frequent busy Butler Street, thinking about improved mobility and infrastructure is key. The Mobility Enhancement District will provide a dedicated fund that will be used for much needed mobility improvements. The language and transparency of this legislation, particularly the decision process of how funds are to be used, further allows for the community to give feedback about the most pressing areas of need. It makes sense for those who visit our vibrant businesses and restaurants to have to pay to park in the district. Paid parking and dynamic pricing are tools used nationwide to increase parking turnover and manage parking effectively. It is the right step for Pittsburgh to make and will help keep Lawrenceville vibrant and increase safety. Most importantly, the fact that these funds will remain local and will contribute to much needed mobility improvements in the neighborhood make this a win-win for our neighborhood. The proposed timeline for adoption, as well as continued work from both LC and LU to engage residents and businesses as this program rolls out, will help make this legislation a success. Thank you for introducing this legislation, and I strongly support its passage.
Thank you. And our next registered speaker is Tony Moreno.
Thank you, Council, for having me. My name is Tony Moreno. I am from the North Side. I'm here to talk about the Jim Rogers payment. We are about to spend $8 million in a payoff to keep everybody quiet about what happened to Jim Rogers. Let me be clear, I am not here trying to protect the police department or prevent the Rogers family for getting compensation for the death of Jim Rogers. I am here to bring accountability to this $8 million. You are about to sign a check and you have no idea why you are signing it. There has been no depositions to ask these police officers who were involved in this exactly what happened on that day. There is video out there that shows that a gross misjustice was done upon Mr. Rogers by the police officer arriving at the scene. I know what I saw, and I used to teach de-escalation in this department under the same rules that they have right now that are just not being used. There is video out there that's not being released. If anybody says that there is still an ongoing investigation, I believe that they are lying, because the grand jury is done. That information is out. That video needs to be shown. All video needs to be shown. There needs to be an explanation about what exactly happened on that day and where the failures were. The medical department, the medical notice done by the hospital says that this was an accident, from the coroner's office, I'm sorry, that this was an accidental death. How are we paying $8 million for an accidental death when we don't know what that accident was? We don't know how that accident happened or where it happened. Did it happen in the hospital? Because Mr. Rogers was alive when he went into that hospital. He died in that hospital. We know that a family member authorized the ending of the use of life-saving instruments, but that doesn't tell us exactly how it led to that event. Why isn't anybody telling us what happened here? Everybody that was involved knows. You fired a bunch of people, and now you're going to have to hire them all back because you fired them for excessive force and killing Mr. Rogers, except Mr. Rogers died accidentally. But we all know what we saw in the video. What is changing in the department? Nothing is going to change. There has been no policy changes. None of those administrators from the top down have been removed. We know this is going to happen because of what happened with Leon Ford. We paid Leon Ford $7 million and nothing changed. There were no demonstrable changes in our administration. There are people in charge that need to be removed that have to answer questions, and they're not. Nothing's happened policy-wise here, and it needs to be addressed, and we demand that you stop this payment until these things are shown to the public. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next registered speaker is Bill Joe. Bill Joe. Is he online?
Yes, did y'all get me on there?
I don't have you on there, Carmen. Yeah. Our next registered speaker is Jackie Perlow. Jackie Perlow, is she online?
Excuse me.
Hi, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, please continue.
Hi. Good morning. My name is Jackie Perlow, and I'm here today representing the Women's Law Project, where I'm supervising staff attorney. The Women's Law Project is a public interest legal organization that seeks to advance gender justice through impact litigation, public policy advocacy, community education, and individual representation. The Women's Law Project regularly works with and on behalf of survivors of domestic violence. The Women's Law Project strongly supports Ordinance 2023-2038, which seeks to provide crucial housing protections for survivors of domestic violence. This ordinance recognizes that the act of leaving an abusive relationship is often entangled with complex housing issues. Unsurprisingly, one of the most pressing concerns survivors face, especially when leaving an abusive relationship, is their immediate safety. Survivors may need to leave their homes quickly or change their locks in order to ensure their safety and the safety of their family members, including young children. Under the current legal system, a survivor who needs to leave their home before the end of the lease term can be subject to punitive fees and legal complications. Rebuilding one's life, especially for individuals who have experienced trauma, is a daunting task. Saddling survivors with the burden of lease termination fees and potential legal repercussions makes their journey to safety and independence even more challenging. For many survivors, the possibility of owing thousands of dollars in lease termination fees can mean the difference between staying in or leaving a dangerous living situation. By removing these financial obstacles, the City of Pittsburgh can take a meaningful step towards ensuring that survivors of domestic violence do not feel trapped in housing situations that put their safety at risk. It is also imperative to highlight the undeniable connection between domestic violence and homelessness.
Without the flexibility to break a lease, many survivors are caught between the danger of staying with their abuser and the risk of homelessness. Offering the protections of early lease termination and lock changes are not merely a housing matter, but a significant step towards reducing homelessness rooted in domestic abuse. Ultimately, this ordinance is about empowerment. By allowing survivors the freedom to move out of dangerous living conditions without the added weight of financial or legal repercussions, Pittsburgh can help provide survivors with a clearer path towards healing and recovery. Passing this ordinance will send a message to survivors that you stand with them, that their safety matters, and that you will do everything in your power to remove barriers on their path towards a violence-free life. The Women's Law Project therefore strongly encourages City Council to enact these important and necessary protections for survivors of domestic violence and to pass Ordinance 2023-2038. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next registered speaker is Chief Ikahana Helmakina. Ikahana Helmakina. Last call, Ikahana Helmakina.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can.
Okay. Greetings and good day. My title is Chief Ikahana Helmakina. I am the Grand Inca of the Iroquois Confederacy of Aboriginal American People. Despite an overwhelming amount of evidence against the United States government and its local municipal governing bodies, hundreds of historical documents still exist to support our efforts. We, the Indigenous Americans, are still finding it difficult to get the acknowledgement we deserve. One would think that making the decision to sign on to legislation being proposed would be an easy decision, since congressional resolutions exist that acknowledge a long history of official depredations and ill-conceived policies by the United States government regarding Indian tribes and nations. They offer an apology to all Native Indigenous people, somewhat similar to this incorporated city being a city for all, according to its current mayor. This apology was issued by the United States government, and it is time for this city to do the same. For our people have suffered the cruelty and horrific acts against our people in the name of government policy. They are well documented in military massacres such as the Trail of Tears, the Long Walk, Black Wall Street, the Sand Creek Massacre of 1890, to name a few. Our resilience and resolve and unique nature gives us the strength to go on. We as folks are inalienable rights in connection to our sacred land. The voices that you hear weekly on City Council are that of our leadership, and we are requesting engagement and support. We are seeking to be acknowledged to begin the process of reconciliation, redress, and restitution for the injustices left unaddressed. How will you vote? What will you do? Let's begin the process of reconciliation and offer a way to move forward in repairing and restoring these historic injustices that still linger today in Indigenous communities throughout America. Now is the time for change. I employ every member of City Council to engage the Iroquois Confederacy of Aboriginal American People and truly make this a city for all. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you. That exhausts our list of registered speakers. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to address City Council? Carmen, please come forward. And I apologize if you called in and your name was not called or registered. Oh, I'm sorry, Carmen. They said they have you registered for tomorrow, but you can speak now too. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Carmen. I'm from the East Liberty area. It was brought to my attention that by a family member that Jim Rogers' estate may have been created under deception and false pretense. This is very concerning, especially when there has not been no justice for Mr. Rogers. Mr. Rogers' heir deserved compensation for his death, but it is also the council's fiduciary responsibility to investigate the legitimacy of all entities and estates that receives our tax dollars. The Pittsburgh Law Department has been very reckless and fraudulent in handling this lawsuit and settlement. So as a taxpayer, I plan to file a lawsuit exposing their incompetence. Before City Council authorizes and releases this $8 million, the City Council has a legal obligation, again, a legal obligation to request and verify specific documents to prove the legitimacy of this estate created for Mr. Rogers.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to address City Council?
Yes, put it in the lawsuit. My name is Yvonne F. Brown. I live at 715 Mercer Street, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Tony, this man Tony, I've heard of you before. I didn't hear too much good about you, but for you to stand up and fight for a man that's dead, to try to get justice, I wish you helped me with my son.
Please.
Okay, I wanted to start off by saying that we're getting ready to have an election. I live up in Katie Irvis Tires, and I was complaining about how they brought DeWitt Watson up to the building. Only certain people knew it, and they only took certain pictures. They didn't ask to take my picture, even though they passed me a couple times. My husband, Harold Brown, and many of you know him, he's altogether different from me. He's laid back. He said how it wasn't that many, Yvonne, don't even worry about it. But what I was worried about is taking pictures in front of the building as if we were all supporting him. I want you to understand that I have been mistreated. I have been thrown aside. Let me use the example. Okay, they had something at Katie Irvis, and there was a bunch of older men singing religious songs. But one of them was Ralph. And I knew Ralph, he had been a drunk. I mean, a sure enough drunk. But now he was a minister, and he was praising, he was saying how he changed. Okay, but I had petitions for voting machines. So up in that building, they have so many people that take over, and you have problems, even if you want to speak loud. I went to the president of councils, our council up there, and I said, I want to make an announcement. Will you come over and tell the one lady that's running the place that I can do it? He said, no, you go do it. I said, please. I said, because she's not going to let me do it. He said, go. I go in, and I asked her, I say to her, can I stand up and make an announcement? And she's in, and she looks around, no, go from table to table. And I guess what I said, what? And then she said, go ahead. Well, what I found out was this. The next day when I seen her, because I was really upset, I said, why would you tell me that I couldn't stand up and speak loud? It wasn't the place at the time. I said 200 or 300 black people, and we were talking about voting machines. And then as I walked away, I thought about it, because my husband was raised with her. I remember coming back, and I said to her, you know what? I told Brownie where you did me, and he couldn't believe it. Well, when I did that, you had one man run up to the manager and the social worker and said a whole bunch of things I was supposed to have done. And I was called into the office where they had called Response, 2 white people, and I was wondering what they was for, to see me. And when I go in the office, I asked who you affiliated with, Western Sight. They tried to put me in Western Sight because
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Are there any other people wishing to address City Council in the audience? Good morning.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How are we all doing today?
Good, how about you? I'm sorry.
As I said here in council, I hear, and I'm very privy to the fact of the Jim Rogers situation. I would just ask that we take a stern look, because I don't know all the details, that we take a stern look a minister of the estate, someone who is the executor of the estate, they are paid a certain amount. It looks shady to me, and I ain't no lawyer, that he can go in and ask for more money. I thought an administrator get a certain amount. That's my question, just by sitting here by listening to him. But I wanted to come today and address issue that I live in the Homewood area. I represent Homewood, the 15206, Reverend Burgess's area. But for me, when we get to talking about infrastructure and we talk about so many great things that go on in the city of Pittsburgh, my concern is, and it's a new thing for me because God knows in heaven, I would not have mentioned this a few years ago, but I've met a certain milestone in my life. Are we doing anything for the senior citizens? We talk about violence prevention. Do we talk about the senior citizens that become victims of a situation or the community? There's a young lady who is 83 years old, and I'm pretty sure you all have all heard it has been running again. That young lady was beat in her own house, beat, raped, and beat all in her face. She was a pillar in the community. I would ask you all, we all are getting older. As I sit here and I look at us, Ms. Dab looks the youngest in the room. We are all getting old. I had listened to the city the mayor's budget set in on there, and it didn't talk much about safety for the seniors. It didn't talk about what he was going to do. And if we're talking about infrastructure, that got to be put in somewhere. Because if it doesn't happen, we're losing the very foundation that built the city of Pittsburgh up. These old folks, the Homewood House in Homewood, how they are scared to come outside their house, guys. And I know we got the city of Pittsburgh police. They have been involved, but they're only involved for 2 or 3 days. And what happens the rest of 360 days out of the year? We got to do something. I'm standing here because we've been talking about, and I've been here before. You all are continuing to keep giving the same funding to the same 10 or 15 people in this community, and that's not fair. I'm almost on the same genre as Carmen is by taking you all to court. And I don't want to take you all to court, but I'm almost on the same genre as if this continues to keep happening and we don't take care of what is truthfully the infrastructure of our communities, I'm going to see you all in court. Y'all be good.
Thank you. Are there any further speakers wishing to address City Council? Are there any further speakers wishing to address City Council? Seeing none, we'll now move on to our next order of business, which is the presentation of papers. And we'll begin with Councilman Reverend Ricky Burgess, Chair of Human Resources. Councilman Coghill. Oh, sorry, is Reverend Burgess online? Sorry, I apologize, Reverend. Thank you.
That's okay, I'm here.
And Councilman Coghill, Chair of Public Safety and Wellness.
Thank you, Madam President.
Councilman Hill, can you come? Can you come here?
Councilman Coghill presents Bill Number 2068, Resolution authorizing the Mayor of the City of Pittsburgh and the Department of Public Safety to apply for a grant from the Redevelopment Authority of Allegheny County's Gaming Economic Tourism Fund for the purchase of non-fluorinated firefighting foam in the amount of $500,000 for this stated purpose.
And Councilwoman Gross, Chair of Intergovernmental and Educational Affairs.
Madam President.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Councilwoman Deb Gross presents Bill Number 2069, Resolution adopting plan revision to the City of Pittsburgh's official sewage facilities plan for 442 52nd Street at no cost to the city. Bill 2070, Resolution adopting plan revision to the City of Pittsburgh's official sewage facilities plan for Miller and Reed Street at no cost to the city. Bill 2071, Resolution approving execution of a contract for disposition by sale of land between the URA of Pittsburgh or a URA of Pittsburgh affiliate and Citizen Science Lab or a related entity for the sale of Block 27A, lots 177, 178, 179, 180, 180A, 181, 182, 183, 184, 186, 187, 188, and 189 in the 5th Ward of the City of Pittsburgh, Council District Number 6, at no cost to the city. Bill Number 2072, Resolution providing for the execution of a cooperation agreement or agreements with the URA of Pittsburgh for the performance of certain work in connection with the 2023-2024 Community Development Block Grant Program and providing for the payment of the cost thereof not to exceed $9,500,000, all council district. Bill number 2073, resolution authorizing a cooperation agreement or agreements with the URA of Pittsburgh designating URA as the city's agent for administration of the 2023-2024 Home Investments Partnership Program at a cost not to exceed $2,557,679, council districts all.
Thank you. And Councilman Kraus, Chair of Public Works and Infrastructure. Councilman Kraus?
I apologize, my mute button doesn't seem to want to work today. Good morning, Madam President. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman.
Councilman Kraus presents Bill number 2074, resolution authorizing the mayor and the directors of the Department of Public Works and the Department of Finance on behalf of the city of Pittsburgh to enter into an easement agreement or agreements with Duquesne Light Company to provide a permanent easement for the relocation of its electrical system in Hayes Woods at no cost to the city. Bill 2075, resolution authorizing the Director of the Department of Mobility and Infrastructure to take actions necessary for recordation of temporary construction easements over certain city-owned parcels in order to advance a project for rehabilitation, reconstruction, and repair of the Charles Anderson Memorial Bridge. Bill 2076, resolution authorizing the mayor of the city of Pittsburgh and the director of the Department of Mobility and Infrastructure to receive grant funding from the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation Green Light Go program in the amount of $430,013 to upgrade traffic control switches. Bill 2077, resolution authorizing the mayor of the city of Pittsburgh and the director of the Department of Mobility and Infrastructure to receive grant funding from the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation's Green Light Go program in the amount of $954,552.43 to replace traffic signals at the intersections of Penn Avenue and Highland Avenue, South Aiken Avenue and Ellsworth Avenue, and Bayard Street and Neville Street. Bill 2078, resolution providing for a supplemental agreement or agreements with Lori Hepner for costs associated with the Davis Avenue Bridge project, providing for the payment of the cost thereof not to exceed $54,444, an increase of $24,444 to the amount previously authorized by Resolution 205 of 2022 to add additional funding for public art as part of the project. Bill 2079, resolution providing for an agreement or agreements with Gullisick Construction, LLC for costs associated with construction for the Critical Sidewalk Gaps project, providing for the payment of the cost thereof not to exceed $1,156,475.35, reimbursable at 100%. Bill 2080, resolution providing for a supplemental agreement or agreements with Gannett Fleming Incorporated for costs associated with the Mount Washington Landslide Mitigation Project, providing for the payment of the cost thereof not to exceed $2,157,000, an increase of $157,000 to the amount previously authorized by Resolution 636 of 2021 to add additional funding for the services during construction phase of the project. And Bill number 2081, resolution providing for an agreement or agreements with Power Contracting Company for costs associated with construction for the Pittsburgh Downtown Wayfinding Project, providing for the payment of the cost thereof not to exceed $1,761,235, reimbursable at 100%.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman.
may I please offer up a motion to waive the rules of council on Bill 2075 so that it may appear on tomorrow's standing committee agenda?
Yes, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
The bill will appear
Aye.
on tomorrow's sitting committee's agenda. Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you, Madam President.
And Councilman Lavelle, Chair of Finance and Law.
Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman.
Councilman Lavelle presents Bill number 2082, resolution authorizing pursuant to Chapter 210, acceptance of gifts to the city of the City Code, the mayor and the director of the Department of Public Works to accept a donation of 6 safety ladders from Friends of the Riverfront valued at $12,040 to be installed along the southern shore of the Allegheny River from Rachel Carson Bridge to Point State Park at no cost to the city.
Thank you. And Councilwoman Strasburger, Chair of Recreation, Youth, and Senior Services.
No new papers, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilwoman. And Councilwoman Warwick, Chair of Innovation, Performance, Asset Management, and Technology. Thank you, Councilwoman.
Councilwoman Warwick presents Bill number 2083, resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of Innovation and Performance to enter into an agreement and/or agreements and amendments thereto with Twilio for internet-based communication services required to support various City of Pittsburgh customer engagement communications at a cost not to exceed $238,325 over 2 years.
Thank you. And Councilman Wilson, Chair of Land Use and Economic Development.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman.
Councilman Wilson presents Bill number 2084, resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Office of Management and Budget to enter into an agreement or agreements with various community-based organizations for the implementation of the 2023 Neighborhood Economic Development Program and to provide for the payment of the costs thereof not to exceed $500,000. Bill 2089, ordinance amending the Pittsburgh Code, Title IX, Zoning Code, Article 5, Use Regulations, Chapter 911, Primary Uses, at Section 911.02, Use Table, and Article 6, Development Standards, Chapter 914, Parking, Loading, and Access, at Section 914.02, Off-Street Parking Schedules, and adding Section 912.09B, Child Care, Accessory Use, at Chapter 912, Accessory Uses and Structures, all to amend child care uses and standards.
Thank you. And myself, Chair of Hearings. I have one appointment. Madam Clerk, thank you.
Council President Cal Smith presents Bill number 2085, resolution appointing Daylon Davis as a member of the Citizen Police Review Board with a term to expire October 31st, 2027.
Can I have a motion to
Madam
interview?
President?
Yes, Councilman.
So may I offer a motion to hold for interview?
Yes, please, thank you. And a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, we'll get those scheduled. Oh, I'm sorry, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, and we'll get that scheduled. Thank you, Councilman. We'll work with you to get it done. And our next order of business is reports to committee for final action, and we'll begin with Councilman R. Daniel. What did I do? Was it in something else? It's not on here.
Madam
Yeah,
President?
I don't have it.
On my agenda, Madam President, I have a appointment to the Parking Authority.
Yes, I see it on the agenda, but it's not on my sheets, so, okay. Can we have that under unfinished business? I'm sorry.
Bill number 2002.
Thank you, Councilman.
Resolution appointing Sean Luther as a member of the Pittsburgh Parking Authority Board of Directors with a term to expire September 20th, 2027.
Thank you.
Motion to approve, please.
I think it's read, receive, and file.
It's motion to read, receive, file.
It's motion to read, receive, and file. Councilman.
Sorry,
please.
my apologies.
No, it
Motion to
came,
read, receive, file.
I'll just explain real quick. It came over wrong the last time, that's why. It's just informing council now. So motion to read, receive, and file. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Councilman. Thank you for that. Thank you, Madam
Thank
Clerk.
you, Madam President.
And now our next order of business is reports to committee for final action. We'll begin with Councilman Lavelle.
Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman.
Councilman Lavelle presents Bill number 2062, reported to Committee on Finance and Law for October 18, 2023, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill 2022-1072, ordinance amending the Pittsburgh Code of Ordinances, Title 5, Traffic, Article 7, Parking, by creating a new chapter, Mobility Enhancement District. Bill number 2021, Resolution amending Resolution 108 of 2023, effective March 1st, 2023, which amended Resolution 458 of 2022, effective 9/7/22, authorizing the mayor and the city solicitor to enter into a professional services agreement with Fisher Phillips LLP for legal services in connection with collective bargaining by further authorizing an amendment or amendments to said professional services agreement at no additional cost to the city. Bill 2022, resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in favor of plaintiff James Frierson, administrator of the estate of Jim Rogers, decedent, and his counsel of record, Todd J. Hollis, at a cost not to exceed $8 million over 2 years, relating to the full and final settlement of litigation, including attorney's fees in the United States District Court for the Western District of Pennsylvania. Bill 2023, resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in favor of Bennett Amalu Pathology for expert fees in connection with labor arbitration matters for an amount not to exceed $10,000 over 1 year. Bill 2024, resolution further amending Resolution number 863 of 2018, effective January 1, 2019, as amended, entitled Resolution Adopting and Approving the 2019 Capital Budget and the 2019 Community Development Block Grant Program and the 2019 through 2024 Capital Improvement Program by reducing design, construction, and inspection services by $46,000 and increasing complete streets by $46,000. Bill 2025, resolution further amending Resolution number 647 of 2020, effective December 23, 2020, as amended, entitled Resolution Adopting and Approving the 2021 Capital Budget and the 2021 Community Development Block Grant Program and the 2021 through 2026 Capital Improvement Program by reducing facility improvements, sports facilities by $200,000 and increasing complete streets by $200,000. Bill 2026, resolution further amending Resolution number 723 of 2022, effective December 27, 2022, as amended, entitled Resolution Adopting and Approving the 2023 Capital Budget, the 2023 Community Development Program, and the 2023 through 2028 Capital Improvement Program by decreasing ramp and public sidewalk by $75,000 and increasing complete streets by $75,000. Ramp and public sidewalk is further increased by $505,000 and signage and wayfinding increased by $500,000 to account for additional Federal Highway Administration funding being received at no cost to the City of Pittsburgh. And Bill number 2027, resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Office of Management and Budget to enter into an agreement or agreements with Rents LLC for services relating to the washing of city vehicles. Expenditures for the purchases shall be limited to authorized annual budgeted amounts by each city-using department. The cost of each car wash has been pre-negotiated over the course of the agreement's 3-year term. Costs for these services will vary based on individual departmental need.
Thank you. You've heard the reading and the title of the bills. Is there any discussion on the bills? No discussion on the bills?
Madam President, I'll bite.
Yes, thank you, Councilman.
Thank you. Just a sincere congratulations to Councilwoman Gross for a well-earned victory here and a long journey to bring the Mobility Enhancement District to fruition. I wish her all the best. Hope that it serves the council district well, and sincere congratulations for a job well done.
Thank you, Councilman. And I'm actually going to wait. I think our solicitor's on his way in. I'm going to talk to him for a second. But I do want to bring up the Jim Rogers case and the settlement. We've heard from a lot of people today and over this past few weeks concerns, and I've actually talked to his uncle Billy. Thank you, Carmen, for making that connection. And he has concerns, and I partly want to hold this until at least he has the opportunity to talk to the solicitor. That's who he wants to talk to, and I partly want to give him that opportunity. But I also know that Councilman Lavelle and others have been vetting this very well, and they've also been tracking a lot of stuff. And our solicitor is also coming out, so he can give us a little bit of advice about what we should be doing. So if you don't mind, I'm going to wait until he gets out here. We can vote on the other bills. Want to vote on the other bills? And hold this until he comes out?
Yeah, we could.
Okay. Madam Clerk, you want to? I just think with $8 million, it deserves a little bit of, more of a conversation. Yes?
I'm sorry, can you clarify? So the solicitor's going to come out? Are we going into executive session?
No, he's just going to come out and explain he's been giving me advice over this, and others have been giving me advice over this, because I do listen to the community a lot, you know that. So I want to make sure that whatever we're doing, it's the right thing, right decision. Hey. Thank God he put a mask on, he's been off sick. Come on. I just want to talk briefly what your opinion is about the
Jim Rogers.
Jim Rogers case.
Yeah, I heard. Okay.
Thank you.
Sure.
Just so we know if we're voting.
Good afternoon, members of council. I guess, I just looked at this last night at 10 o'clock for the first time. And I'm not here to undo the court's findings. I'm not here to contradict what the law department has achieved. I can't say that, community members, you've raised some issues. Council, however, is not really the place to address those. Somebody, if they have a claim or feel like they have a claim, should probably get a lawyer and appeal the orphans court settlement order. But as it is, you have a settlement order in front of you today that was executed and negotiated by the law department and the mayor's office. And, you don't have to vote on it today. If you want to hold it to get more information, that's your prerogative. But you can also vote on it today. And no matter what you find later, ultimately it's going to be the court that has to make that decision. So I implore people that have an issue with this settlement offer to go to orphans court. Represent yourself if you can't find a lawyer, or call the Allegheny County Bar Association and get a free lawyer if you can't afford one. But your concerns have been heard, and I don't think they're frivolous. That's it.
Thank you. So I just want to say that although we hear the community, we've been vetting phone calls, I think a lot of us have been, and emails and text messages, and we do hear the concerns, but the avenue for them to go is not city council. It's to the courts, so to the orphans court. So just with that said, we're going to take a vote. Anything else from members? No. Okay, you're all looking so puzzled. So, I just want to make sure the public knows we're listening and we hear them, and that we have been looking into some of the things that they've been saying. Okay, Madam Clerk.
Reverend Burgess. Mr. Coghill.
Aye.
Aye, I'm sorry.
Ms. Gross.
Aye.
Mr. Kraus.
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle.
Aye.
Mrs. Strasburger.
Aye.
Mrs. Warwick.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Mrs. Kilsmith, President.
Aye.
9 ayes, 0 noes.
The bills having received the legally required number of votes are finally passed. That moves us on to our next order of business, our next committee, which is Councilman Bruce Kraus, Committee on Public Works and Infrastructure.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman.
Councilman Cross presents Bill number 2063, reported to Committee on Public Works and Infrastructure for October 18, 2023, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill 1992, resolution vacating a portion of Wabash Street, formerly Walnut Street, laid out in the Denny Estate Plan of Lots from the center line of Low Street to its terminus in the 19th Ward, 2nd Council District of the city, no cost to the city. Bill 1993, resolution granting a vacation of an unopened 10-foot unnamed way situated in the 19th Ward, 2nd Council District at no cost to the city. Bill 2016, resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of Public Works to enter into a professional services agreement with Western Pennsylvania Conservancy in an amount not to exceed $200,000 to support the city's equitable street tree plan over the course of up to 3 years. Bill 2018, resolution providing for an agreement or agreements with SAI Consulting Engineers, Inc. for costs associated with the preliminary engineering phase for the Safe Routes to School project, providing for the payment of the cost thereof not to exceed $116,472.86 reimbursable at 100%. Bill 2019, resolution providing for an amended reimbursement agreement or agreements with the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation for costs associated with the construction phase of the Pittsburgh pedestrian wayfinding project, providing for the payment of the cost thereof not to exceed $2 million, an increase of $500,000 from the previously executed agreement. This resolution serves to authorize only the amended reimbursement agreement or agreements at no cost to the city. Future resolutions will authorize the project-specific service agreements. And Bill number 2020, resolution providing for an amended reimbursement agreement or agreements with the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation for costs associated with the construction phase of the Critical Sidewalk Gaps Project, providing for the payment of the cost thereof not to exceed $1,485,000, an increase of $505,000 from the previously executed agreement. This resolution serves to authorize only the amended reimbursement agreement or agreements at no cost to the city. Future resolutions will authorize the project-specific service agreements.
So you heard reading in the title of the bills. Is there any discussion on the bills? Seeing none, the bills are now ready for final action. All in favor of the passage, vote aye when the name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Reverend Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. Coghill.
Aye.
Ms. Gross. Aye. Mr. Kraus.
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle.
Aye.
Mrs. Strasburger.
Aye.
Mrs. Warwick.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Mrs. Kelsmith, President.
Aye.
9 ayes, 0 noes.
Thank you. The bills having received the legally required number of votes are finally passed. And Councilman Reverend Burgess, Committee on Human Resources.
Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman.
Councilman Burgess presents Bill number 2064, reported to Committee on Human Resources for October 18, 2023, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill 2038, ordinance amending City Code Title 6, Conduct, Article 5, Discrimination, Chapter 651, Findings and Policy, and Chapter 659, Unlawful Practices, by adding enhanced housing protections for survivors of domestic violence.
You've heard the reading of the title of the bills. Is there any discussion on the bills? Seeing none, the bills are now ready for final action. All in favor of passage, vote aye when the name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Reverend Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. Coghill.
Aye.
Ms. Gross.
Aye.
Mr. Kraus.
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle.
Aye.
Mrs. Strasburger.
Aye.
Mrs. Warwick.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Mrs. Kelsmith, President.
Aye.
9 ayes, 0 noes.
Thank you. The bills having received the legally required number of votes are finally passed. That moves us on to Councilman Bobby Wilson, Committee on Land Use and Economic Development.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman.
Councilman Wilson presents Bill number 2065, reported to Committee on Land Use and Economic Development for October 18, 2023, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill 2029, resolution further amending Resolution number 723 of 2022, effective December 27, 2022, as amended, entitled, Resolution adopting and approving the 2023 capital budget, the 2023 Community Development Program, and the 2023 through 2028 Capital Improvement Program by increasing personnel community development block grant program by $97,804, increasing emergency solutions grant by $7,044, increasing housing opportunities for persons with AIDS by $260,014, and increasing home investment partnerships program by $257,679. These changes are made in response to program allocations by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development and comes at no cost to the City of Pittsburgh. Bill 2030, Resolution providing for an agreement or agreements with the Jewish Healthcare Foundation to provide administration and operating expenses, housing and housing-related supportive services to persons with HIV and AIDS and their families at a total cost not to exceed $1,410,014. Bill 2031. Resolution further amending Resolution Number 723 of 2022, effective December 27, 2022, as amended, entitled Resolution Adopting and Approving the 2023 Capital Budget, the 2023 Community Development Program, and the 2023 through 2028 Capital Improvement Program, so as to grant $100,000 to specific public service grant projects of the Mayor's Office and authorize a subsequent agreement or agreements. Bill 2032. Resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Office of Management and Budget to enter into an agreement or agreements with agencies to provide emergency shelter services, street outreach services, rental assistance, and housing relocation and stabilization services, and or data collection activities as associated with 2023 Emergency Solutions Grant Funds at a cost not to exceed $1,207,044. And Bill 2033. Resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Office of Management and Budget to enter into an agreement or agreements with Urban Design Ventures, LLC, for services relating to the program, design, and application development of the city's home art application for a sum not to exceed $28,600 over 3 years for the payment of the cost thereof.
Thank you. You've heard the reading and the title of the bills. Is there any discussion on the bills? Seeing none, the bill's now ready for final action. All in favor of the passage with aye when the name is called. Those opposed?
Madam President?
Madam President.
Yes, Councilman Kraus and Wilson.
Councilman Wilson, would you like to offer up the motion?
Yeah, I was just going to do that. On a motion to recommit Bill 2023-2031.
I'll second with brief discussion, please.
Okay. Councilman Kraus?
Thank you, Madam President. To other members, I spoke with Councilman Wilson this morning as the chair of the committee and Council President Kel Smith. I'm actively working with Deputy Mayor Pollack on this bill to have a better understanding about it and where the allocations are going. So I would appreciate member support on a recommittal so that we can further discuss it at tomorrow's standing committee meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman. So we have a motion and we have a second. Is there any further discussion?
What's the bill number? I missed it.
Do you have the bill number?
2031.
2031.
$100,000 to the
Yes.
Yes.
specific public service grants?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you,
All in
Councilwoman.
favor?
Aye.
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 The recommittal? All in favor of the recommittal? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, and aye, thank you. You don't have to call, do you, for that? Madam Clerk? You don't have to call individually, do you? You don't have to call individually for that, right? No. Okay, just want to make sure, because everybody's quiet. Want to make sure. Okay, thank you, and the bill will appear, the bill will be recommitted. Thank you, Councilman, and thank you, Councilman
Thanks, everyone.
Wilson, for working through that. Okay, do we vote on the other bills? All in favor of the other bills? Is there no other bills? I'm sorry, roll call vote. I'm sorry. Madam Clerk.
Reverend Burgess. Mr. Coghill.
Aye.
Ms. Gross.
Aye.
Mr. Kraus.
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle.
Aye.
Mrs. Strasburger. Aye. Mrs. Warwick.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Mrs. Cale Smith, President.
Aye.
9 ayes, 0 noes.
Thank you. The bills having received the legally required number of votes are finally passed. Now it moves us on to Councilwoman Erica Strasburger, Committee on Recreation, Youth, and Senior Services. Councilwoman?
Thank you, Madam
Thank you.
President.
Thank you.
Councilperson Erica Strasburger presents Bill Number 2066, reported to Committee on Recreation, Youth, and Senior Services for October 18, 2023, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill 2028, resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of Parks and Recreation to enter into a sponsorship agreement with Duolingo in support of the community concert series, from which the city will receive a fee in the amount of $7,500.
Thank you. You've heard the reading of the title of the bill. Is there any discussion on the bill? Seeing none, the bill is now ready for final action. All in favor of the passage vote aye when the name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Reverend Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. Coghill.
Aye.
Ms. Gross.
Aye.
Mr. Kraus.
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle.
Aye.
Mrs. Strasburger.
Aye.
Mrs. Warwick.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Mrs. Kelsmith, President.
Aye.
9 ayes, 0 noes.
Thank you. The bill, having received the legally required number of votes, is finally passed. That moves us on to our last committee of the day, Councilwoman Deborah Gross, Committee on Intergovernmental and Educational Affairs.
Madam President.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Councilwoman Deb Gross presents Bill number 2067, reported to Committee on Intergovernmental and Educational Affairs for October 18, 2023, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill 1976, resolution requesting the approval of an intermunicipal transfer of a liquor license from El Paso Mexican Grill, Bethel Park, LLC, to the applicant, El Paso Mexican Grill, located at 564 Forbes Avenue, pursuant to amended Pennsylvania Liquor Code. Bill 2012, resolution adopting plan revision to the City of Pittsburgh's official sewage facilities plan for 4608 and 4644 Forbes Avenue at no cost to the city. Bill 2013, resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of Finance and/or the director of the Department of Public Works to enter into a lease, leases, sublease, and/or subleases for approximately 8,000 square feet from the lessor, the Housing Authority of the City of Pittsburgh, for the purpose of continuing to provide office space for city employees located within the City of Pittsburgh's First Ward at 100 Ross Street, lot number 2J00244, effective on or about September 1st, 2023, for a 6-month period, and providing for the payment thereof in an amount not to exceed $86,250. Bill 2014, resolution authorizing a cooperation agreement or agreements with the Urban Redevelopment Authority of Pittsburgh in connection with the URA's application for a redevelopment assistance capital program grant for the Brighton Heights Healthy Active Living Center in the amount of $2,229,987 and authorizing expenditures for this stated purpose. And Bill number 2015, resolution authorizing a cooperation agreement or agreements with the URA of Pittsburgh in connection with the URA's application for a redevelopment assistance capital program grant for the renovation of Sheridan Park in the amount of $1,083,467 and authorizing expenditures for this stated purpose.
Thank you. You've heard the reading of the title of the bills. Is there any discussion on the bills? So I'm just going to say I want to thank the administration for continuing the Sheridan Park renovations. That was a master plan that we went through a couple years ago, and I want to say it had the most amount of young people participating in it than any other master plan. I mean, they had a lot of young people. And so I just want to say thank you to them for continuing this, and hopefully this will also have some work to do with Farmer Girl Ebony Lunsford, putting in some urban garden over there as well. So thank you. With that said, any further discussion? All in favor of the passage of the bills? The bills are now ready for final action. All in favor of the passage, vote aye when the name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Reverend Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. Coghill.
Aye.
Ms. Gross.
Aye.
Mr. Kraus.
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle.
Aye.
Mrs. Strasburger.
Aye.
Mrs. Warwick.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Mrs. Kelsmith, President.
Aye.
9 ayes, 0 noes.
Thank you. The bills having received the legally required number of votes are finally passed. That moves us on to motions and resolutions. This afternoon at 2 p.m., council will hold an executive session on legalities and procurement in the small conference room. On Wednesday, October 25th, Council Standing Committee's meeting is scheduled for 10 a.m. here in Chambers. To register to speak at this meeting, please fill out the sign-up form on the Council's meeting webpage or to call the clerk's office at 412-255-2138. Speaker registration will close at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Also, tomorrow afternoon at 1:30 p.m., Council will hold a cablecast post-agenda to discuss Bills 2023-1866 and 2023-1867, corporate ownership of real estate, chaired by Councilwoman Gross. Is there anything else from members? Seeing none, can I have a motion to, we didn't have no absent, we didn't have any absent members, to approve the minutes and adjourn the meeting?
So move.
Move.
Second. All in favor? Meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everyone.